What's going on, guys? Have you missed me? Yeah, probably not. Anyways, so I've been gone for well over a month because of the fact that they flipped my schedule on me a couple of different times, and the only thing I know right now is either sleep or work. So I was just trying to find that nice balance of, this is just a hobby, I'll get back to it when I can because I don't want my work to suffer for it. And they flipped my schedule like 4 or 5 different times. Like one day I'm on nights, one day I'm on swings, one day I'm on mids, one day I'm on days. It's like, what do you guys want me to do here? It's like my mind can only take so much, but found some ground where I woke up early and I'm like, yeah, it's Sunday, I can actually do something with myself besides sleeping. So here we are. So I want to thank you guys for 3,000 subscribers before I do anything else. That's awesome. I love you guys, and still continue to watch my old videos and support me while I was away. Sure, it wasn't like a deployment or whatever, but I mean, a little over a month, solid time to I gotta collect myself and I just look like I just woke up, I know, but here we are. So I figured today, all the way to this point, I'm like, we could talk about my MEPS experience because that'd be pretty fun. Then I thought to myself, yeah, that'd be fun, but it's been a while since I went there. I went back in March of 2015, so I don't really remember it very well. I remember bits and pieces of it, so as I go through it on my phone, I talk about every single piece that I've been able to find. I'll discuss my experiences with it, and then we'll meet the end. The reason I use my phone kind of as a script is because of the fact I get very nervous that I'll let something out completely, and people will be like, well, when I went through, I did this, and I'm just like, crap, I forgot to mention that. Now I have to have like a whole essay to figure it out. I'd rather just make sure I mention everything. Sure, it looks a little rude that I'm on my phone talking to you guys, but I'd rather me get all the information to you to answer all your questions. And for any females that watch this, I'll try my best to answer your questions, but I'm not a female, obviously, so I'll do what I can. So on my phone, let's go through the whole thing. I'm gonna read it, I guess, kind of verbatim. Wow, words are hard. Verbatim, and we'll go from there. You know, I was trying to make this video earlier today. I was trying to put the camera on the tripod. I'm like, what goes where again? This goes here. I was like trying to do math. I swear to God, I hate math. All right, let's do this. Joining the military requires 2 or more trips to the military interesting processing station. MEPS. At every minimum, you will take a trip to MEPS for initial processing and a second trip to MEPS for initial processing on the day you ship out to basic training. This article will focus on the average trip to MEPS. So this is like you went through, you qualified, you went to basic. You know, no medical problems, no nothing. This is like your average trips. That way, that's the common ground. The job is to determine an applicant's physical qualifications, attitude, and moral standards as set by each branch of military service. There are 65 MEPS facilities located throughout the United States. Your trip to MEPS begins before you leave with a medical pre-screening performed by your recruiter. Performing this medical pre-screening, your recruiter will complete the form Department of Defense Form 2807-2, Medical Pre-Screen and Medical History Report. I'm going to say this now because people still do it. Do not lie on your enlistment form. If you smoked weed, you smoked weed. Tell them. You did something in the past you got busted for, let them know. If you lie and then they find out when you're trying to join, or you get through and they find out later, it's bad juju. The recruiter sends the result of the screening to MEPS in advance to be reviewed by MEPS medical personnel. The pre-screening shows a medical condition which is obviously disqualifying with no chance of a waiver. Example, you are blind or missing a limb, then your processing stops at that point. Some medical conditions require additional medical records. So obviously certain medical conditions that you may have, that you were born with, or that you acquired at some point in life will require more paperwork to document to make sure that in the future it's noted so that we're not in a position where it can become a problem. The pre-screening is designed to identify those conditions so your recruiter can help you obtain required medical records before your trip to MEPS. This saves you from being temporarily disqualified, requiring that you return late with necessary records for full qualification. Things to report. Almost any surgery other than an uncomplicated appendectomy or hernia repair, ligation of tubes, male or female, absolutely any surgery of the brain, back, spinal cord, chest, upper abdomen, pelvis, and joints. Tissue report is required in the case of most biopsies, skin, breast, etc., and tumors and lumps. Any history of hospitalization, any history of asthma after the 13th birthday, history of counseling, skin diseases other than mild acne in athlete's foot, allergies if more than mild, back sprains, ADD, ADHD, severe joint sprains, heart conditions, hepatitis, mononucleosis. The most useful medical records are the hospital records. Generally, they are most easily obtained or of better quality and are kept available for a long time. Generally, the information needed is discharge summary, surgeon's report, pathologist report, history and physical, x-ray and laboratory report. Getting ready for the trip. Once MEPS has given your recruiter the okay on the pre-screening, the recruiter will schedule you to visit MEPS. Here are some general rules of things to remember for your visit. Discuss any childhood medical problems with your parents and bring documentation with you. Bring your social security card, birth certificate, and driver's license. Remove earrings. They obstruct the headset used for the hearing test. Profanity and offensive words or pictures on clothing are not tolerated. I feel like that should be common sense. Hats are not permitted inside the MEPS. If you wear either glasses or contacts, bring them along with your prescription and lens case. Bathe or shower the night before your examination. I don't think I need to tell you that. Wear underclothes, get a good night's sleep before taking the CAT ASVAB. Wear neat, moderate, comfortable clothing. Don't bring stereo headphones, watches, jewelry, excessive cash, or any other valuables. Processing starts early at MEPS. You must report on time. Get used to that. For most applicants, the initial trip to MEPS is a 2-day process. It was for me. On the afternoon of arrival, the applicant takes a computerized ASVAB test. If you've already taken the ASVAB before your MEPS trips and received qualifying scores and the ASVAB test is less than 24 months old, you won't be required to retest. I did it there, and then I took, I think, a personality test and then another test, but I kind of forgot what that one was. Maybe it's in here. Once you completed the ASVAB, if you do not live in the same local area where your MEPS is located, you'll be taken to a contract hotel. Generally, you'll be assigned a roommate. The lodging, accommodations, and meals are paid for by MEPS. You'll pay only for extras such as telephone calls, in-room movies, in-room internet access, etc. if available. Yep, that's pretty true. I actually put in a really nice hotel. Got paid. I got a free meal and a free dessert, and it was pretty sweet, dude. Your wake-up call the next morning will come very early, usually about 04:45. You'll have a scant time to dress, eat, and be designated location for the shuttle back to MEPS. True. Meal there was pretty good. Had it like 3 different times. The entire morning is usually scheduled for a medical examination. This is a hurry up and wait situation. You spend a lot of time waiting your turn. Suggest bringing a book or a magazine. Yes, do that. The primary jobs at MEPS is to determine under military regulations, policies, and federal law whether or not you are qualified to serve the United States Armed Forces, and if so, what jobs you may qualify for. Under individual service regulations, the first step is that process. Of course, is obviously the ASVAB. The physical begins with the completion of Medical Questionnaire DD Form 2807-1, Report of Medical History. This is an abbreviated form of the medical pre-screening form that you completed in the recruiter's office. You're required to answer yes or no. In answer to these questions above, if you have whether you have ever had or of the medical conditions listed, note there is no I don't know on this form. You've either had the condition diagnosed by a medical professional or you haven't had the condition. Every item marked yes must be fully explained in the remark section of the form. After completing the medical questionnaire, you'll start the process. Take a blood and urine test, including a test for drugs. Females will be tested for pregnancy. Your blood will be tested for HIV, hemoglobin, hematocrit. I don't know how to pronounce that. Sorry, guys. RPR and alcohol. There are also 2 different urine tests. One is a legal drug urine, and the other is a test for pH, blood protein, and specific gravity. You'll take a hearing test, which I bombed. A lot of concerts. And an eye exam, including depth perception, which I failed, and color vision. Note, lack of depth perception and color vision is not a qualifying factor for military service, but many military jobs require no depth perception and color vision. Passed color, failed depth. Binoculars. Air Force personnel will take a strength test required for a job qualification. At one point during the examination, you'll be required to strip down to your underwear. Aren't you glad you wore those? Along with other recruits. Sorry guys, but male recruits and female recruits are separated. Duh. You'll be then instructed as a group to perform a bunch of funny exercises as follows. So yes, is to make sure you can do simple movements. You know, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you walk forward? It's simple stuff like that. They will examine parts of your body and how you move to complete each task to make sure you have no underlying issues. That's kind of how they found that I have slight, scoliosis?
Well, anybody with poliosis should certainly... What the fuck is scoliosis?
Very slightly. It wasn't disqualifying, but it's how I found out. It's pretty interesting. So that was fun. They put us in the thing called the tank, and then you will get a physical. Guys, you know what that means. Females, I don't know what that means for you. Alright, so this part's important. If a waiver is required, it is initiated and processed by the service you are trying to join, not the MEPS. Whether or not a waiver will be approved and how long it takes for approval / disapproval varies greatly. Each and every waiver is considered individually. Approval or disapproval depends on many individual factors, including the recommendation of the medical profile officer and the accrual requirements, needs of the particular military service. Expect the above medical examination process to take up most, if not all morning. So you'll be there a while. And I don't know about your guys' MEPS that you'll end up going through, or the ones who are watching this again for whatever reason. I wasn't allowed to have my phone at all. So just throwing that out there. Job selection. At this stage, you work with your service counselor liaison to select a military job. Depending on the needs and wants of the service and your desires, this can take a very long or short process. So I want to say this now. You are not required to pick a job right then and there for the Air Force. I waited 6 months for my job. I said I wanted this, 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 and this. I'm like, all right, that's cool. We don't have any of that right now. We'll wait. Okay, got it. I go home. I go to DEP every other week, and I'm like, I wait for that call from my recruiter. Be like, hey, we got a job. It's so and so. And I'm like, cool, I'll take it. I waited 6 months. You are not required to pick a job right then and there. And people who tell that to you are lying, or things have changed in the last year and a half. Or, well, in this case, 2 years. Pre-enlistment interview. Once you've selected a job, the service counselor will complete the required paperwork and bring you and your paperwork to the MEPS control deck to initiate the enlistment processing. This time you'll undergo a pre-enlistment interview, PEI. The PEI, the MEPS Military Processor, NPC, will be on a one-on-one and in private. It was interesting. You will think of and consider things you probably never considered before. It's a really interesting conversation. I suggest, obviously, paying attention. They'll fingerprint you and ask you a question about considering possible law violations, drug and alcohol abuse. Be honest. And other issues that may affect your entry into the armed forces. Also, the NPC will brief you on the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Your new love. During the PEI, if you have any additional disclosures of potential disqualifying item not already reported, it must be resolved before further processing continues. Once the PEI is completed and the NPC prepares your enlistment contract for you to review and sign with your service counselor. Enlistment oath ceremony. It's awesome. I won't read about it. It's awesome. It's very long, very different. So, I will read the ending, the climax. Your first, the ending, not the climax. It's been a really early. Oh god. Your first trip to MEI will be your first trip to MEPS, will be a long day. So make sure you got lots of sleep and eat right. Bring a book or magazine. Understand there'll be a lot of hurry up and wait. For my Air Force people, expect a lot of that. It doesn't stop at MEPS. There's no other way to process the number of applicants that a MEPS must process each day. Yeah, that's the process. Now I'll talk about my experiences and things that I remember. So for me, I had a pretty routine experience up until the point where we had to go through the tank. We were doing some movements and the doctor, he went through like, you're good, you're good, you're good. He got to me, he just looked at my back and he's just like, do this for me or whatever it was he had me do. He's like, clicks his pen. Yeah, we're gonna have to see about that. And at that point I'm like, what? What are you talking about, man? I had never known I had a back issue. And then they made me get an ear lavage and an x-ray at the VA. But the funny thing is that they just did my ear lavage. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to get an x-ray too. And they're like, no, I'm sorry, we don't do that here. And sent me back, and I told them what happened. They got really mad at me, and they're just like, why didn't you get this done? I'm like, they told me they don't do it. Like, I'm just reiterating it to you. And they look at me and they go, are you serious right now? I'm like, what do you want from me, man? I don't know. So they got really mad at me, and they're like, okay, you are going back to the hotel. You will report here early. You were going there first thing in the morning, and then you'll come back and finish your process. I'm like, another night, free hotel, free food, dessert, across from a casino. I can do this. So I did that, went back, passed it, whatever. Went through the whole process. Turns out I have no depth perception. God, I'm never going to figure that out. And I bombed the hearing test. Mainly because I needed that ear lavage and my ears were a little enclosed. I wasn't aware of it. And at the time, I was like, wow, I can hear so much better now. Can I take the test again? They're like, no. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess, cool. You guys do whatever you guys gotta do. I got through, it's fine. I had a couple problems here and there. It was interesting. Very strict atmosphere. I've heard some stories about people got off the bus and they made them like get in lines like they're at basic training. I've heard stories like that. I've heard other people say it was really relaxing. It was really whatever. I don't know. Now, the MEPS process itself, I'm pretty sure is standard across the board. However, your experience will obviously differ depending on who's doing it, how it's conducted, and how organized they are. So that's why, like a lot of things I talk about in videos, people are like, well, when I went through, or when I did this happened. You're wrong. This happened to me. It's like, yes, anecdotal evidence is not fact. I need a poster that says that. Okay, anecdotal evidence is not a fact. Just because it happened to you doesn't mean it's concrete. Okay, but for real though, if you guys have any questions, I'll try my best to get to you. I'll link you this article and 2 others that are pretty good. This article seems more like it was written by someone who's not in the military, but the reason I like it is because the other ones were really vague. This one went into great detail of everything that will happen to you. The other ones were just like, yeah, you'll do this, you'll do this, you'll do this. welcome in, Boot. Like, it's very, I want something that was just very specific for you guys. Specific for you guys, okay? So anyways, I'm gonna go because clearly I cannot stop slurring my words and I'm very tired. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm glad I am back. I'm sorry I was gone for a little over a month, but it was necessary. Yeah, so I will stop making a fool of myself and I'm gonna go back to bed.